My uniform was all ripped up and stuff from that day.
The day Sergeant Joseph Wells almost died.
My Motor Wings Medal of Valor, Life-Saving Award. There's 2 because I have 2 of them and my name badge.
Now covered in dirt and blood, a life-saving hero.
It's kind of crazy holding it, knowing that was on my uniform that day, and it's not anymore. But
for the past 11 months, Joe has been defying odds on maximum life support for 15 days, a miracle recovery that not even doctors thought was possible. Plowed over during a high-speed chase and left for dead. One of many risks of the job.
You do go to work to do your job, protecting the city or doing whatever, serving the city, and then you get hurt doing that job, and then what?
This is where the physical, mental, and emotional battles meet another challenge. That is, if you survive. 25-year-old Garrett Trammell was arrested and charged for almost killing Sergeant Wells. That's the criminal case. Joe has filed a separate civil case against Trammell, Trammell's father, and their insurance provider. But
the city and the insurance company has a stake in what I might get civilly through that.
For years, lawmakers tried to pass a bill to reduce the cost of workers' comp insurance in the state of Oklahoma. It failed year after year until they got creative. They called it workers' compensation reform.
They had nothing to do with reform.
But it passed in 2013 when then State Representative Leslie Osborne was recruited to front the bill, a small business owner and a woman. Osborne is now Oklahoma Labor Commissioner.
This bill had been run multiple years. My understanding, even before I came into the House of Representatives, that it had always been run by an attorney. When T.W. Shannon was Speaker, he asked me to chair the Judiciary Committee as a non-attorney, but as a prior small business owner.
And it worked. Signed into law by Mary Fallon, governor at the time, and married to an attorney, whose areas of practice include workers' compensation.
This was a Greater Oklahoma Chamber of Commerce, State Chamber of Commerce. This was their prize pupil bill to wreck the judicial system at workers' comp. Those on the right, the well-to-do and the well-heeled insurance companies, corporations, were paying large amounts of workers' comp insurance premiums. They blamed it on the workers' comp attorneys that were making legal fees off of injured workers.
Morissette was one of the most vocal lawmakers who fought Senate Bill 1062.
You create a boogeyman, lawyers, point the finger at them, and say this system needs to be reformed to save the state money.
Under the old law, injured Oklahomans would hire an attorney and take their case before a workers' comp judge.
Your lawyer, my lawyer, bring the evidence to court, and we have the judge determine.
Under the new law, there are 3 workers' comp commissioners appointed by the governor. 2 are former Governor Fallon appointees, and 1 appointed by current Governor Kevin Stitt. We reached out to the commission. They're not allowed to discuss individual cases.
And this commission, they're all political appointees. Who are they going to answer to? The obvious answer is the people who put them there.
Bob Burke has been representing injured workers for more than 40 years and says it's not the new system that needs to change, it's the law.
The law given to us 9 years ago by the legislature is the worst ever for the injured worker. It gave Oklahoma the lowest benefits in the nation.
In particular, a change to what's called subrogation, modeled after Arkansas law that states an employer or carrier shall receive 2/3 of the recovery in a third-party suit.
Who wrote that?
We don't know. We don't know. Although, the wording of this probably is from Arkansas.
That would be like copying and pasting.
Oh, 1/3 of the bill was copied and pasted.
Sergeant C.J. Nelson was killed in the line of duty nearly 2 months to the day before Joe's accident. The city of Edmond opted out of taking any portion of the winnings his family received in a civil suit. The difference, though, Sergeant Nelson died. Workers' comp had no claim. Burke believes it is unconstitutional for an employer to take any third-party settlement when an employee dies. The issue is pending before the Oklahoma Supreme Court. But if an injured employee like Joe survives,
the employer gets all of its money back from a negligent third party. Our Supreme Court has said that that is constitutional. I disagree with that. If somebody's in a wheelchair, you can't ever get enough money to compensate them for what they have lost.
Meanwhile, Joe's case remains in limbo.
I kind of just sit here all day kind of thinking about what's going on, what's going to happen.
A day-by-day recovery riddled with uncertainty and guilt.
It can be hard. I mean, I sit here and wonder why I'm still here and CJ's not.
The Workers' Compensation Commission's 2022 report compares the current commission and previous system that handled cases before the new law went into effect. The report cites a 90% decrease in appeals and a 50% reduction in case filings. The Workers' Comp Act also implemented a mediation system. The majority of cases are now settled out of court.
Rates have gone down over 60% for businesses across the state.
The law came from some large companies based in Oklahoma City who did not like paying benefits because they didn't have any insurance.
Big business and self-insured. The Workers' Comp Commission says that since the reform, businesses, schools, and municipalities have saved nearly $322 million in workers' compensation insurance premiums.
We brought in the state chamber on this side, and we brought in professionals like Bob Burke.
So for clarification, you were never consulted at all, had no part.
Right. I had written the workers' comp laws for 30 years, but in 2013, in the last closing days of the session, the legislature passed, and hardly anybody read, this bill.
What we hoped to do was find that middle ground.
A middle ground, Morset says, is uneven, claiming the most prominent workers' comp attorneys in the state were consultants and helped write the bill. An inside advantage.
You can count the number of workers' comp lawyers not on two hands, but on one. Because it is so difficult, even as a lawyer.
A playbook for a system some believe only a few know how to successfully navigate.
Is it a perfect system? Absolutely not. But I do think it's better. I just still think there's continued work to do.
That commission is there to protect insurance companies. It's not there to protect injured workers.